In the sun-soaked desert town of Fontana, California, back in 1948, the rumble of motorcycle engines marked the birth of an iconic brotherhood, the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, the HAMC. The founders, a group of war-weary veterans, sought the thrill of the open road and the camaraderie of like-minded rebels. With names like Sonny Barger and Otto Friedli in the mix, these men set out to create a club that would become synonymous with rebellion and freedom. These disruptors shared a rebellious spirit and a determination to live life on their own terms. The Hells Angels, now an international outlaw motorcycle club, boasts over 6,000 members and 467 chapters spanning 59 countries, making it the largest outlaw motorcycle club globally. However, the club's notoriety goes beyond its size. Law enforcement agencies worldwide, including the United States Department of Justice and Europol, consider the Hells Angels an organized crime syndicate. The club's origin story is steeped in mystery and conflicting accounts. Otto Friedli, a World War II veteran, is often credited with starting the club after a feud with a rival gang led him to break away from the pissed-off bastards motorcycle club. Another theory places the club's birth in San Bernardino in 1951, founded by Dick White, a member of the Redlands Roadrunners. The club's name was suggested by Arvid Olsen, an associate of the founders who served in the Hells Angels squadron during World War II. They chose the name Hells Angels as a nod to the B-17 Flying Fortress bomber squadron from World War II, and the skull with wings emblem became the iconic symbol of their brotherhood. Whether inspired by military squadrons or the 1930 Howard Hughes film Hells Angels, the club embraced a fierce identity. The Hells Angels became a symbol of counterculture and rebellion, often clashing with law enforcement and rival motorcycle clubs. Stories of their wild parties, epic rides, and clashes with the establishment became legendary. While the Hells Angels were often involved in criminal activities, including drug trafficking and violence, their mystique and allure were undeniable. As the Hells Angels spread their wings, chapters formed across California, with the San Francisco chapter gaining prominence in the counterculture movement of the 1960s. They became associated with influential figures like Ken Kesey, the Grateful Dead, and Hunter Thompson, whose book about the club launched his career. They became a global phenomenon. Despite their rebellious image, the Hells Angels engaged in charitable activities and community outreach. In 1973, they protested an environmental plan limiting motorcycle use, showcasing their commitment to freedom on the open road. The Hells Angels' distinctive insignia, the Death's Head, designed by Frank Sadalek, has become iconic. The club's patches, worn on leather or denim jackets, carry specific meanings known only to members. The 1% patch, signifying outlaw status, is central to their identity. Over the years, the Hells Angels faced legal battles over their intellectual property, trademarking their name and symbols. They sued entities like Walt Disney Motion Pictures Group and Alexander McQueen for unauthorized use. Fueling the public's fascination, low-budget filmmakers churned out a string of biker movies featuring titles like The Wild Angels, Hells Angels on Wheels, Hells Angels 69, and Angels Hard as They Come. Membership in the Hells Angels is no casual affair. It's a meticulous dance through a labyrinth of vetting and initiation. Prospective members face a rigorous journey before donning the coveted regalia bearing the infamous Death Head insignia. The process to be part of the group involves becoming a hang-around, an associate, a prospect, and finally achieving full membership. The Hells Angels enforce strict rules, excluding individuals with certain backgrounds or affiliations. While the Hells Angels insist that they are a motorcycle enthusiast group, law enforcement agencies often link them to widespread criminal activities, including drug trafficking and violence. Despite bans in some countries, the Hells Angels remain a symbol of rebellious freedom and an enduring legend on the highways of the world. They went from barroom brawlers to illegal drug trade, particularly methamphetamine. Brushing shoulders with the law, the club faced 2 unsuccessful attempts under the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act in the early 1980s. Yet the Federal Bureau of Investigation continues to brand them as the quintessential outlaw motorcycle gang in its National Gang Report. Let's take a look at what they have been accused of in different parts of the world. In Australia, where the Hells Angels decide to add a Down Under chapter in 1975. With about 250 members spread across 14 chapters, they're not just here for the kangaroos and koalas. From traditional underworld activities like drug trafficking and prostitution to a surprising pivot into gyms, tattoo parlors, and security services, these angels are proving they can multitask like pros. In Austria, the Hells Angels are giving the classical image of Vienna a gritty twist. With around 300 members, they've earned themselves a spot on the Federal Criminal Police Office's watch list. Prostitution, cannabis, and cocaine. It's like a criminal symphony echoing through the picturesque streets of Vienna. In 1999 in Belgium, the government declared the Hells Angels an illegal organization, making them the first country in the world to do so. Fast forward to 2009, and a clash with the Outlaws, a rival gang, turned the streets into a battleground. Shots fired, motorcycles burning. It was like a scene straight out of an action movie. Canada isn't spared from the Hells Angels saga. With 34 chapters and over 1,000 patched members, these rebels on wheels are a force to be reckoned with. Crown Prosecutor Graham Williams even tried to slap the criminal organization label on them in a legal showdown that could rival any courtroom drama. In Denmark in the 80s, the former Unionen motorcycle club officially transformed into the first ever Scandinavian Hells Angels chapter, marking their territory in Copenhagen's Titengade and Nørrebro districts. A rival gang, the Bullshit MC, made its move, merging with the Norrøgers Mindebanden to create a powerful opponent, settling in Freetown, Christiania. Cue the clash for control of Copenhagen's biker scene between 1983 and 1985. With bottles, knives, and convictions. Bullshit MC's president, Henning Norbert Makrellen Knudsen, boldly declared on live TV that American motorcycle clubs wouldn't take over Denmark. He paid the ultimate price, getting shot dead in front of his wife. Fast forward to 2023, and the Hells Angels are still making headlines. From a war over the cannabis trade in Christiania to infiltrating the port of Aarhus, Denmark's largest commercial port, the Hells Angels are far from a fading legend. Explosions, arrests, and a clash with the loyal to Familia gang. Keep the adrenaline pumping in this real-life saga of brotherhood, power, and the unyielding grip of the Hells Angels on Denmark's underworld. Let's rewind to the birth of the Hells Angels in Germany. It all started in March 1973, when the notorious Bloody Devils biker gang in Hamburg went through a rebellious patchover, giving birth to the first German charter of the Hells Angels. These rebels quickly took over the red light districts of St. Pauli and Sternschanze, establishing their presence with 69 chapters and a staggering 1,400 members. Fast forward to the 1980s, and things took a dark turn. Hells Angels members committed a chilling murder on the island of Sylt, and in 1983, 500 police officers stormed the infamous clubhouse Angels Place in Sternschanze, putting the leaders of the Hells Angels of Hamburg behind bars. Despite a ban and a subsequent rebranding to Harbor City, the Hells Angels' flame continued to burn in Hamburg, dancing on the edge of legality. In Norway, the land of breathtaking fjords and picturesque landscapes, a dark underbelly thrives as the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club makes its presence known. Kripos, the Norwegian police's criminal investigation unit, deems the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club a full-fledged criminal organization thanks to its extensive rap sheet of illicit activities. Leif Ivar Christiansen, the presumed boss of HAMC Norway, found himself in the hot seat in 2011, facing convictions for threats, robbery, drug offenses, fencing, tax evasion, and a smattering of smaller charges. It was a laundry list of criminality that landed him a cozy 4 years and 9 months behind bars. The Hells Angels rap sheet, according to Kripos, boasted a whopping 120 members with 400 convictions, spanning 1,000 violations of the Norwegian Penal Code by 2012. The charges ranged from violence and rape to severe drug criminality and threats, painting a vivid picture of their tumultuous exploits. The Iberian Peninsula wasn't immune to the drama, as Portuguese authorities in 2018 uncovered ominous signs of potential gang violence directed at the Hells Angels' rivals, the Bandidos. The spotlight fell on Mario Machado, once the leader of the Portuguese Hammer Skins, suspected to have ties with the Bandidos. This revelation triggered a series of events, including a flurry of search warrants and dozens of arrests. Fast forward to July 2019, and Portuguese prosecutors threw the book at 89 Hells Angels members, accusing them of everything from organized crime and attempted murder to robbery, drug trafficking, and wielding illegal weapons. The courtroom became a stage for a high-stakes showdown between justice and the notorious motorcycle club. The Romanian Hells Angels president, Marius Lazar, danced with the law in November 2020. Teaming up with New Zealand nationals Michael Matthews Murray and Mark Patrick Johnson, Lazar faced charges of cocaine trafficking orchestrated from the United States. Luxury cars, motorcycles, a lethal weapon, $200,000 in cash, and 100 grams of cocaine became the spoils of raids in Bucharest. The Romanian authorities, in partnership with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and Department of Homeland Security, left no stone unturned. The extradition saga took center stage in January 2023, when Romania greenlit Lazar's journey to the U.S. allegations of drug trafficking, money laundering, and complicity in attempted murder followed him across the Atlantic, setting the stage for a gripping trial. The Hells Angels planted their roots in South Africa in 1993, but their story quickly took a dark turn. A dance with the bouncer mafia, involvement in narcotics trafficking, and the introduction of methamphetamine to South Africa marked their controversial legacy. The Hells Angels' connection to drug syndicates echoed in South Africa, where a hitman spilled the beans on their involvement in a drug-related contract killing. International drug smuggling allegations surfaced in 1999 involving the U.S. and South Africa, with methamphetamine cunningly hidden in stuffed toys. While some faced justice, others managed to evade the long arm of the law, leaving a trail of mystery and intrigue. Spain, with its vibrant culture, couldn't escape the clutches of the Hells Angels. The club set foot in Barcelona and Valencia in 1997, triggering investigations like Valkyria. Raids in 2009 uncovered a cache of weapons, drugs, and neo-Nazi literature, leaving the authorities to grapple with the menace. In the sun-soaked paradise of Mallorca, a notorious chapter of the Hells Angels emerged from the shadows, led by the elusive Frank Hannabuth and the daring Yusafi brothers. Living large in a luxurious villa, Hannabuth orchestrated a wild ride of crime, from drug trafficking and extortion to running secret prostitution rings. Now let's shift gears to Sweden, where the Hells Angels are not just bikers, but organized crime maestros. With 12 chapters and a hefty crew of members and supporters, they've been labeled the fastest-growing organized crime group in the world. From drug trafficking to contract killing, these Swedish angels are not to be underestimated. In a bizarre turn of events in Gothenburg, a naked, bound, and gagged man was rescued from the trunk of a car, revealing a twisted kidnapping scheme linked to unpaid debts. It's like a scene straight out of a crime thriller. Zooming over to Thailand, where Hells Angels nomads have set up camp, a daring attempt to smuggle half a ton of methamphetamine ended in a death sentence for Australian member Luke Joshua Cook and his Thai wife. Another Hells Angel, Wayne Schneider, met a gruesome fate after a drug network dispute, reminding us that the life of an outlaw biker is no joyride. In the United Kingdom, the Hells Angels are not just revving engines, they're revving up crime stats. From cannabis and amphetamine trafficking to contract killing and credit card fraud, these British bikers are giving the authorities a run for their money. And finally, the grand stage, the United States. With a whopping 92 chapters and over 800 members, the Hells Angels are a force to be reckoned with. Their laundry list of crimes, from drug trafficking to murder, has earned them the outlaw label. The FBI estimates their annual drug sales at a mind-boggling $1 billion. It's a crime saga that spans the nation. Buckle up, because the Hells Angels are not just a motorcycle club. They're a global phenomenon, weaving a tale of crime, rebellion, and a life lived on the edge. And there you have it. The notoriety of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club stands as a symbol of defiance, rebellion, and a shadowy subculture that has left an indelible mark on the annals of motorcycle gangs. often entwined with tales of crime, violence, and a fiercely guarded code of silence. You heard it here on the most infamous channel. Subscribe, comment, like, and share for more infamous stories.